obviously applications undeniably, or app stores undeniably, are becoming extremely popular. It's coming up to Apple's 6th birthday, and there's been like 75 billion downloads and 60,000 applications in that time developed. So it's undeniable the consumerization of applications has really driven these application stores, both Apple stores and Google Play and all the stores that are available to people. And I think what's really driving it is the ability. Well, there's a few things, I guess. There's games and things like that, which are driven on the one hand by people wanting to play those games. There's also the merging or blurring of lines between work and play, if you like. So there's certain almost more business-focused applications like file sharing, some social media applications, which are allowing people to integrate both their work and their home lives whilst on the move, whilst not necessarily sat at their desk or out and about or wherever they happen to be. So you can see that that's how the proliferation of these applications have come around, and the fact is there's a massive variety, and you can see just from the download statistics that it's a very, very popular way of delivering information. We're seeing a lot of common file sharing based applications across the network, across everyone's network, and those common file sharing based applications, which might be things like social networking, things like file sharing, Dropbox, other applications such as Boomerang or whatever they happen to be, tend to be the common entry point for attackers. So what we're seeing is that across all these networks that we analysed, 5,500 of them, 19% of the attacks were actually were exploit-based attacks, and they were focused on these common sharing-based applications. So you can see that although on the other hand they only take care of about 5% of the threat activity, what you can actually see from that is that it's still very much the way in for attacks. If you take examples like Smoke Loader, where indeed that's the ability to exploit the endpoint, put in an exploit kit of some kind or other, depending on what they're using, and then be able to use social media-based applications to post back out again. So you can see that how if we have these applications running on our network, it provides a level of security risk, because that's the way the attackers see coming in, and they might do that through some kind of phishing technique. They might do it through, tricking the user into opening a Word document or whatever it happens to be, but then through these file sharing or common sharing applications, they're then getting access to the network. Outside of that, what we're seeing is that there's a proliferation, and a lot of these applications that you see, common sharing based applications, do indeed use things like or use the secure socket layer. So they use SSL to encrypt the traffic, and whilst that might give good privacy based communications, the challenge is that then attackers can also use that to hide in what we call plain sight. So they can actually use this secure encrypted channel in order to deliver bad payloads to the endpoints in order to gain control of them. And so you can see how all of a sudden now, where common sharing applications are being used across many devices, if they're encrypted, they're providing a conduit into the business. But generally what we do also see is that isn't necessarily the target. So whilst we saw 19% of the exploits run were indeed against these applications, they only took up 5% of the actual full threat package. So where we saw the main threats happening was actually on the back end, or actually communicating back out of the network. And if you take that into account, what that generally means is that the end station that was initially exploited wasn't necessarily the target. And in fact, then there's lateral movement within the network, providing extra security risks to businesses.